boxing for the WBA Cruiserweight Championship of the World. Introducing to you first on my left is the challenger. He is fighting out of the blue corner, wearing gold trunks with brown trim, fighting out of his home of Chicago, Illinois. He weighed in at a ready 188 pounds. His record stands at 21 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, with 15 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the WBA number 12th ranked contender, introducing Ken, the Bandit Murphy. And his opponent across the ring, ready to fight on my right out of the red corner, wearing black trunks with silver trim, and joining us from Saint-Denis, France. He weighed in at 189.5 pounds. His outstanding record stands at 40 wins, only 1 defeat, with 26 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former light heavyweight world champion and the current and defending WBA Cruiserweight champion of the world, introducing Fabrice Tiozzo. Once again, Joe Cortez is our referee in charge. 12 rounds of championship boxing schedule.
All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in our dressing room. Yo estoy la regla de camerino. I expect a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Understand? Okay, this here punches here are still good. These are a little high.
It's high.
Okay, I took care of that already. That's a little high, okay? Okay.
You gonna make him take it down?
Take him up.
Joe.
I already did. Can't go down no more.
Interesting relative stories about these two fighters. Both of them have brothers who have held championship belts. Both of them have teenage sons with unusual stories. Raphael Murphy, who is 14 according to his dad, fixes the strategy for his fights. So there we have a case of the son training the father, George.
And Tiozzo has a son who's already a professional fighter.
Well, yeah. Now here's the interesting part about that. Tiozzo insists he's 30. His son, who's a fighter, is 18.
Uh-huh. Well, he's French.
That's what he says.
And he also, incidentally, you mentioned that Kenny Murphy has brother Leroy Murphy, who won a world cruiserweight title. Tiozzo's brother, Christophe Tiozzo, was a world 168-pound champion.
It's turning into a jabbing match. Tiozzo seemed to have the best of that.
Tiozzo. And Tiozzo landed one hard right hand that backed Murphy up.
They're right there in front of each other.
Yeah, both guys are connecting early on. There aren't a lot of missed punches here.
Hard jabs. Tiozzo looks like he's just waiting to spring the right.
Yeah, that's the difference between Tiozzo and Murphy. One seems to have something else waiting. Murphy does not seem to have anything else but that.
Ken Murphy has remained a construction worker and has continued to work for the water department in Chicago throughout his entire professional boxing career. Been on leave of absence since September 29, training for this fight. This fight was postponed from a date earlier this year because Tiozzo's been having trouble with a bad back.
I don't recall the last time I've seen two guys just stand there and wail like this, particularly with the jab early in the first half of the first round. Now they're going with the big punches.
Murphy just doesn't seem to have the form to get in a 1-2 combination. Throws his punches and then he starts walking in.
He doesn't look as strong as Tiozzo.
Neither one is going to win any bodybuilder contests.
Tiozzo has a nice little right uppercut. Gets off the ropes real cleverly.
Let me hold the hand.
Tiozzo trying to work to Murphy's body in between the upstairs assaults. Murphy, who had promised us that he would jab and move and stay outside of Tiozzo's punching range, has gone ahead and traded with the Frenchman throughout much of round one.
Murphy just doesn't seem to have a good straight right hand. He seemed to have made a hook out of it that time. A little more power came into it.
Well, Murphy is 36. He's not going to be doing a lot of dancing at 36.
You couldn't dance when you were 36? In Tiozzo's corner, our interpreter is Benny Bennis. They speak French.
Use your left side. Try to use your left side. Show more confidence.
You're doing good. Pick up the speed a little more than that. Keep a little bit more snap to it, right? Don't push your right hand. Turn knuckles over. You turn knuckles over, straight down the pipe. You catch him every time because he's trying to slip right here. All right?
In round one, by CompuBox numbers, Fabrice Tiozzo landed 44 out of 85 punches, 52%. Murphy, 18 of 74. Tiozzo, 27 out of 46 jabs. Like I said, there weren't a lot of missed punches.
Tough guy, Tiozzo.
Murphy's promoter or manager came up and gave me a good bill of sale, a selling job on Murphy.
Did he tell you that his fighter was going to stand toe-to-toe and trade with Fabrice Tiozzo?
He said he would be a lot better than what I'm seeing now. And if his fighter doesn't do as well as he said, I'm not going to buy a used car from him. But he is doing pretty good. He's standing, fighting. I was surprised they put water over his head after the first round.
Well, Murphy's manager is a terrific guy from Chicago, small businessman named Lee Holliday, who probably could sell a used car to you and a lot of other people, George.
Well, if this fighter doesn't win, I'm not buying his car.
He hasn't had a chance to hook up with a real top-flight fighter yet, but he's trying to.
If he stays in there, he will. Murphy's starting to push his punches, and this is only the second round. He's going to have to snap, keep the snap in. Ooh, left hook.
You may be wondering, how did Kenny Murphy get a title shot against WBA World Cruiserweight champion Fabrice Tiozzo? Murphy earned his right to challenge for the USBA Cruiserweight crown earlier this year, fight he lost to Alex Gonzalez, by defeating 5 opponents whose combined record was 16 wins, 142 losses, and 2 draws. A 10% winning percentage for the 5 opponents preceding his last fight. So in other words, Murphy so far is a triumph of matchmaking.
Agreed. Couldn't have said it better, Jim.
Hold on. All right, you don't punch this up, all right? You
Used to be a
up,
manager in boxing. His name was Johnny Green, I think. They call him Bring 'em Back Alive Johnny. Because he'd take a carload of boxers out to each town, and they'd be happy just to come back alive.
Imagine the culture shock that it could be for Murphy. You go from fighting guys with records like 3 and 23 to fighting a guy who's 40 and 1. Little different. Johnny Green, huh?
Johnny Gray. If they'd come back alive, they'd be able to go another trip.
In other words, they went out as opponents.
Big right hands toward the end of round 2. Kenny Murphy struggling to stay on his feet. No balance for Murphy now as Tiozzo takes his time measuring him across the ring. So 2 rounds in the books for Tiozzo and Murphy, and as we get ready for Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis, let's take a look at some of the significant differences in the setting and the build-up for this particular fight as opposed to March 13th. Then New York, now Las Vegas. Purse, even distribution this time after Holyfield got the lion's share of the money in New York. Ringside tickets, higher price here, reflecting the casino town environment. Odds reversed, and in fact, a lot of Lewis money in the last 24 hours. It's gone up from 8.5 to 5 to 11.5 Lewis. Judges selection, you already heard Mark Ratner talk about that. These judges not chosen by the so-called sanctioning bodies. Vast experience difference for the judges here as opposed to those in New York. The gloves, you heard Mark Ratner talk about that. Everlast because it didn't fit either fighter's agenda. And the weights, you can see the significance there. Lennox Lewis, 242 instead of 246. Most people see that as a good sign for Lennox. Maybe he's in even better fighting shape than was the case 8 months ago. In round 2, Tiozzo again threw 81 punches and this time landed 53 of them. 33 of 56 power shots. So Kenny Murphy's taken a lot of leather to make it into the 3rd round with Fabrice Tiozzo.
Tiozzo, all he has to do is just turn on the power here. This fight can just unfold for him.
Well, I'd love to see Tiozzo fight Zhirov, the Russian who has one of the cruiserweight belts. Just as tough as he is, maybe a little younger and quicker.
Well, definitely younger. Even
Right.
if Tiozzo's only 30, he's still younger.
Right. I know he doesn't have an 18-year-old son.
And Murphy's even using a good effective left jab at this point. He should be out of it, but yet he's jabbing.
Murphy's willing.
Trying to make the most of the biggest night of his life.
An unlikely opportunity to fight for a world title. Despite having logged only 23 fights since having begun his professional career 18 years ago.
Now the body punches are coming in. Murphy's getting the worst of it.
Yeah.
Watch your heads aside, guys. Watch your heads.
He's got the definition of the soft underbelly.
And this guy, Tiozzo
Tiozzo
is taking advantage of it. Once he lands 4 or 5 body shots, I think Murphy will just drop.
Oh. George, you get any better at saying Fabrice Tiozzo's name and you'll be ordering in French at the Tour d'Argent menu, eh? Kenny Murphy breathing through an open mouth as he tries to make it through round 3. A minute to go. Fabrice Tiozzo just bearing down, taking his time, pounding away.
In another day and age, Tiozzo might have been a legitimate heavyweight when we had 188, 185, 195-pound heavyweights.
Tiozzo is the aggressor. He hasn't given up that. He just doesn't try to dig in and go for a knockout.
It's been a long time since the French had anything approaching a heavyweight contender, but at the beginning of the evening we saw Josué Blocus, originally from Guadeloupe. Spent much of his adult life in Paris, and a guy with 9 knockouts in 9 fights after another first-round knockout tonight. Murphy brave enough to get in there and trade again with Fabrice Tiozzo, and an A for effort to Kenny Murphy, who continues to pound away with limited skills against Tiozzo.
Get the tape on the glove.
Here, hold it. There's sperm one
Get
now.
the tape on the left glove, man.
I mean, we on the left glove. Kenny,
All right, I'll get it. We got to get him first.
Kenny, raise up. Hey,
You
man.
have to, baby. You just grab him and hold, you understand?
Hey, man, what you got?
Kenny, would you step with that jab?
Kenny.
If you step with that jab, go over and right, you get him.
Yeah,
He walking right into.
Come on, open your mouth.
He walking right into that
I
right
wish y'all
hand.
let me
You
say
got to-
something. I wish y'all
I'm sorry,
please let me say something.
Go ahead.
Kenny, you gotta go out here and fight this daggone guy. You got there boxing, you're not throwing no punches.
Breathe deep.
You gotta throw some daggone punches. What do? You come here to do this? You're not gonna do this to me.
Got to take it from Tiozzo for 3 minutes and from his corner for 1 minute.
Hey, incidentally, his trainer is former heavyweight titleist Greg Page. And I'm told that Greg Page is fighting in Oregon tomorrow night against former Cuban star Jorge Luis Gonzalez. Harold, how do you have this one through 3?
Jim, 30-27, 3 rounds to nothing. Fabrice Tiozzo. Jim, he's just walking him down and pounding on him. Big, strong guy. You know what I like about Fabrice Tiozzo, besides for the quick hands and the good effective punches? Watch the right hand. Watch how many shots that Murphy throws that Fabrice Tiozzo slaps down with that right hand. Great defense by Tiozzo. He knocks down a lot of punches.
I don't know about great defense.
Yeah, I like him because he's 30 and has an 18-year-old son, or he says he's 30.
Enough, okay? Enough on that subject.
Now, Lee Holiday, the manager, what he needs is a good trainer. Now, this guy's, Murphy's got a lot of heart, has a good left jab, but little bit more training to stay in there with a world champion like that. With that,
a hard right hand by Tiozzo spins Murphy's head around. Murphy hurt now as Tiozzo pounds him again with a right hand. And a straight right lands there. And in a minute, if this keeps up, you'll see Murphy's legs start to wobble. They're stiffening even now.
you get a good guy to condition a guy like that and really teach him some things with that kind of heart, make a good fighter out of Murphy. Not tonight, by the way.
And since Greg Page is still himself fighting, he probably isn't yet a full-time, everyday, 365-day-a-year trainer, right?
Not only that, he's not the kind of fighter, or never was the kind of fighter who would get in there and try to win something like this anyway. He's a bouncer and mover.
Yeah.
This guy has heart. He's taking everything that the champion has, still there.
Tiozzo's got a little French grin on his face as he sizes up the easy pickings that Murphy looks to be. Murphy not quite as easy pickings as he appears, but Tiozzo feels good about it.
And Murphy can just lightly tap him with his right hand, come back with the hardest left hook from the floor. He can change things, make this guy at least back away a little bit.
Another sharp right hand along the ropes by Tiozzo.
That's the left hook.
Murphy with a quick counter right inside.
Turns it into a hook, the right hand. You got to touch him with the left a little bit.
Joe Cortez, one of the world's most respected referees working here. You reflect on the fact that young Mitch Halpern, coming off of De La Hoya, Trinidad, where he did a terrific job, has been chosen to referee Holyfield Lewis. And let's go to Holyfield's dressing room for referee's instructions.
Okay, if your mouthpiece comes out of your mouth, I want you to keep fighting, protecting yourself. There's a low, go back to the corner, get a foot right back in. Okay, I want you to watch your head and your elbows inside. So 3 knockdown rules, no standing 8 count. You're the champion of the world, I expect you to protect yourself like a champion. When I say break, you can step back, protect yourself.
I'm your referee for this fight.
I want this fight clean,
I'm here to
okay?
protect you.
Any questions? Good luck to you. Question? Okay, good, go.
And you heard Halpern warning Holyfield about headbutting. The people in Lewis's camp are quite concerned about the possibility that Evander will come up from the inside, the shorter man butting the taller fighter.
You got to throw some punches, man. You want this gut, you got to go take.
Mike Tyson twice insisted that Evander Holyfield uses the headbutt as a weapon. Your take, George?
I know that Murphy, if he moves his head a little bit and throw a few shots, we could have a different fight. Now, he's withstood all of the best that Tiozzo has got. Now do something yourself.
George apparently more eager to talk about Tiozzo Murphy than Holyfield Lewis. Well, they'll be in the ring later.
How about you? Did you experience that when you fought Holyfield?
Now there's another good right hand. Good left hook to the body by Murphy. He's taking charge. I guess if you're going to lose, do your best.
Maybe he thinks he's going to come back and win.
He also fights with the confidence of a guy who just knows he's strong. You start throwing punches at him, he says, okay, 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 and then when you stop, here I come.
As we talk about the Lewis camp's interest in the question of headbutts, we should point out that both sides have an agenda. Just as the Lewis people will be asking Halpern to watch for Holyfield's headbutts, the Holyfield people will be asking Halpern to make Lewis keep his protective cup down low as opposed to up around his ribcage.
Archie Moore and I would talk about the strategy of headbutts and things of this nature, and we'd always end up saying, so what if he headbutt? I want to whip him anyway. That's what you really think about in the boxing.
So you have to ignore it, is what you say.
Just ignore it. One guy wants these kind of trunks, another guy wants that color. Oh, just so what?
Are you as startled as I am, George, that Kenny Murphy's made it into round 5 against Fabrice Tiozzo?
And he's taken over. He's actually taking over the fight.
I'm very surprised.
He's got this look about him that's more is deceiving.
Well, if you're going to get one shot, you might as well try to make the most of it.
That's right.
And to be honest, a lot of Tiozzo's punches are designed just to land and not to devastate. Not every one of them is thrown with power punch commitment.
As though he's looking for a knockout. He's not committed to a knockout, Tiozzo.
But he is piling up points.
He's also piling up a lot of lumps on Murphy.
Let me hold the hand. Let's go.
Now Tiozzo is starting to jab and hook off the jab. Right hand.
Lands another long right hand. Murphy backing up, though, and Murphy still in control of himself. Round 5 coming to a close. Let's go listen to Mitch Halpern's instructions to Lennox Lewis in his dressing room.
Rapid punching, kidney punch, or anything low. You score a knockdown, I'm send you a neutral corner. You got to stay there till I tell you to come out. If you do score a knockdown, don't hit the guy when he's down, period. Okay, if your mouthpiece comes down to your mouth, keep fighting, protecting yourself. When there's a low, we'll go to the corner and get it put back in. Okay, I want you to watch your head and your elbows inside. All right, there's no 3 knockdown rule, no staying 8 count. You're a champion of the world, and I expect you to conduct yourself like a champion. So when I say break, take a step back and protect yourself. All right, this will be a good, clean fight, all right? Any questions? Ready? All right, good luck to you.
What we didn't see and don't know if anybody's inspected the cup of Lennox Lewis, which is
okay, but just don't lay there
become
and
a debating
man,
point.
all right? If you want to fight him, fight him. Don't sit down there and...
I can't let you take it. You hear me?
One.
I'm listening to me.
And to our ears, at least, it seemed that Mitch Halpern delivered exactly the same instructions, pretty much word for word, to Lewis that he gave to Holyfield.
That's a good idea, too.
It's the fair way to go about it, including the stuff about the head, as though it would be easy for Lewis, the taller man, to bend over and butt Holyfield, but it's not completely out of the question. Halpern, of course, got rave reviews for his handling of the first Tyson-Holyfield fight, and got extra good reviews a few months ago for the way he dealt with De La Hoya in Trinidad. So Mitch Halpern, despite some rocky moments early in his refereeing career, has become a highly respected Nevada referee.
This fight is turning out to be a good fight.
This fight is turning out to be a lot better fight than it appeared to be at first.
Now, I think I will buy a used car from Lee Holiday now. He said this guy would give all he could.
If he could revive this old torso, what could he do with an old used car?
What could he do? He could do a lot.
Tiozzo landed 50 of 78 punches in the last round. So if CompuBox numbers properly reflect the flow of the fight, you got to expect that Fabrice won that one on the scorecards too. But Kenny Murphy's hanging in, doing some damage here and there. He just doesn't look like he has the one big punch, George, that could really turn things around for him.
He's not a puncher at all. He's got heart. Not enough heart, just a little more skill and some road work. Could see a different fight. Oh, but the right hands by Tiozzo coming in strong now.
Well, maybe we shouldn't be too surprised at the resiliency and the courage of Ken Murphy. After all, his mother, Katie Murphy, raised 8 sons and 4 daughters in a small apartment unit at the Robert Taylor Homes on State Street in Chicago, one of the toughest housing projects in the country. So the Murphys come from solid stock.
Yeah, he's got a son, well-behaved, nice-looking boy. Look at the right hand.
This is the kind of beating that Murphy will feel for weeks.
Round 6 coming to a close. We're halfway through this cruiserweight title fight between titleist Fabrice Tiozzo in the black trunks and Kenny Murphy in the gold. Well, George Foreman, one of the questions that surrounds the Evander Holyfield-Lennox Lewis fight, as you look at Holyfield warming up in his dressing room, is the question of whether Evander can get inside of Lewis's jab to do damage against a taller fighter in Riddick Bowe. Evander Holyfield had no difficulty getting inside and wreaking havoc on Bowe in 2 of their 3 fights. But March 13 in New York, it appeared that Lewis was able to keep Holyfield occupied at the end of his jab. What must Evander do?
Well, Evander was able to go down to the body early and pick a fight with Riddick Bowe to make him lean forward with his head, bring the fight to him. And that's what you want to do, is make the fight come to you if you're Evander Holyfield.
Can he do it against Lewis?
Don't go out there and trying to get close to him. Make him come to you and you get close. He can do it. He can do it. He's got the skill and the experience, and he's been in with enough giants in his career.
Maybe he can take 5 or 6 years off his age. That would help.
I think that's when you can best qualify yourself to get up a strategy when you're older.
And incidentally, I think it has, I personally believe it has more to do with style than age.
Yeah, when you get a certain age, you can follow instructions a lot better, because that's your only hope.
Harold, how do you have it through 6 here?
Jim, I got it 6-0, 60-50.
Whoa!
Fabrice Tiozzo.
Whoa! These are for the Murphy right hands, right?
No, the judges, Jim, always see those double and triple combinations. It's amazing. The guy can double and triple shots, and he's a real big guy. That catches the judges' eyes. Fabrice Tiozzo winning it easily on aggressiveness and those double and triple shots, the cleaner punches.
So French fans flock in droves to see Fabrice Tiozzo, and Harold is feeling like a Frenchman after seeing these first 6 rounds.
Murphy was able to get in a couple good right hands. He received one himself just then.
Yes, receive he did.
Yeah.
Early flurry by Murphy, and now Tiozzo has come back to regain his rhythm and take over this part of the round.
Yeah, a lot more in the receive basket and the outgoing basket for Murphy.
What Tiozzo is doing is allowing Murphy to fight when he want to fight and rest when he want to rest. Oh, good right hand.
It's getting to the point where you almost want to say to Murphy, boy, well done. You've given it everything you got, but how much more of this do you want to take?
Yeah, it's about the way it is, too.
Well, Murphy's a brave guy.
Keeps trying, keeps trying.
Guy who lost a significant number of his top teeth at the wrong end of a Chicago policeman's nightstick and is able to laugh about it. Hard right hand by Murphy, or at least as hard as he's got.
He came back with a left hook.
First knockdown of the fight.
7, 8.
First time Ken Murphy's ever been knocked down in his career.
Looked like a fall down.
I would say as much exhaustion as anything else. Joe Cortez watching pretty carefully now as Murphy gets clocked 3 more times. And the bell ends the round.
Okay, yeah, that's it. That's it.
All right.
That's it.
Good.
Stopping the fight,
That's
Jim.
great. That's great.
Joe Cortez goes to Kenny Murphy's corner and says, quite wisely, we think, that'll do.
That's a good stoppage. We've seen the kid's heart.
He made his point.
He can go back to Chicago proud that he did his best. Just wasn't good enough against a good fighter.
Brave performance for Kenny Murphy against a quality cruiserweight titleist, if that's not an oxymoron, Fabrice Tiozzo. Here's the knockdown.
That was about a 3-second delay, like a parachute that took a little bit of time to open.
Yeah, like a sports talk radio show delay. You know, I hit you 7 seconds ago, now you fall.
Murphy gave a good show. Even while being pounded, he keeps coming.
Yeah, undertrained, underqualified to be in the fight. He had to be fed a steady diet of stiffs to develop the kind of record that would earn him the fight, and he went in and fought with bravery and commitment and tried to make the most of an unlikely opportunity.
And Lee Holiday, I think I'll buy him now.
What is it you're going to buy from Lee Holiday?
He's trying to find a good fighter. He's trying to put heart into not so good fighters. If he
got
can
a
find
59
one good
Edsel
fighter.
for you. He's got an Edsel waiting right there on the lot. It's a collector's item, George. Let's go up to Jimmy Lennon Jr. and hear the particulars on the stoppage.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout has been stopped at the end of round number 7. A referee in charge, Joe Cortez, halts the contest on advice of the ringside physician. The fighter absorbing too much punishment. The winner by way of technical knockout and still the WBA Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Fabrice Tiozzo.
Let's go back upstairs to our host, James Brown.
All right, Jim Lampley, so a very methodical, precise, and efficient performance by Fabrice Tiozzo in dispatching of Ken Murphy as he improves his record now, Fabrice Tiozzo, that is, to 41-1. Coming up next, it'll be our main event, the rematch between Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis.